Hello friends, have you been watching the Duchess of Sussex lifestyle show? I think it's called With Love. It's cute, right? So the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle, as we all know her, she creates a one-pot pasta dish. And to be honest with you, I have never thought of doing it. Or have I? Maybe I have and decided no. Do we do that? Well, apparently people have been doing it for years. I didn't know. So today I'm going to recreate, or, recreate is not the quite word. I'm going to do it in a style that makes sense to me, using the ingredients she used and see where we come out, see what you think of it too. So let's talk ingredients. She uses spaghetti in this recipe. I am going to swap that out and use some bucatini. Bucatini is a favourite for us in this household. The spaghetti is thicker. The pasta is thicker than spaghetti and makes for a bit of a heartier meal in that sense. The wonderful man in my life likes a hearty meal, so that's why we have bucatini. I'm going to use, instead of, she uses tomatoes, small vine tomatoes. I am going to use instead the brand is called Wild Wonders. These are small tomatoes and they're a little bit like heirloom tomatoes. They're really very nice and sweet in taste. And I think they're just so pretty because they're in different colours as well. But the flavour is great. And they're not just pretty, they're actually very flavourful. So I'm going to use those. She uses kale and Swiss chard. I'm not a fan of Swiss chard, so I'm just using this wonderful kale I got. I get my groceries from Fresh Direct, so I think practically everything I'm sharing with you today is from Fresh Direct. And I'm going to use those. She, I think, uses the stalks. I don't think I'm going to add the stalks. I'm going to skip the stalks. She also has arugula. I'm going to use the clamshell wild arugula that I have. And some lemon, garlic, that I peeled already. Some olive oil and some Parmesan cheese that's in here. So, let's get to it. So the way Meghan prepares her meal is that she puts everything in the pot and then puts it on the fire, pours some hot water and turns it on. I don't do that. I'm sure it's fine. I am going to saute first and then add some of the stuff in, just to bring out the flavour of everything. First, I'm going to cut up the tomatoes. Why didn't I do this already? Could have done this before. You would have saved some time. Tomatoes are nicely cut up. Look at that. So now I'm going to slice this . And I'm using just two cloves of garlic. You can use more if you're a lover of garlic. Add some more, but sometimes it upsets my stomach. So I always pull back a bit on the on the garlic, but you can add more by all means. That's the tomatoes, and I think that's it. Oh, kale. Got to prepare the kale. And Meghan, she uses the stalk. I'm not going to do that. So I sort of take out the hardy stalk and leave the rest. That's all you have to do. Tear a piece here, tear a bit down here, tear a bit down here. Hold the bits that you've torn down and woohoo! That wasn't good. We'll do it again. Tear a bit down here. Tear it down here. Tear it down here like that. Kind of pull it. Then hold it and then there you go. It's easy. You can literally just drag it. You hold it, tear a bit, so you can get hold of it. And then just when you got hold of it, just, wow. Oh, it's so satisfying. And as Meghan said, you could use these for flavour and so on. I'm going to skip that. They're going in the trash. So I have the kale here. Once I've removed the hardy stalks, I am going to slice. And I just bundle it up in a way that makes sense and slice. And I'm doing somewhat thin slices because I have a household of folks that are a bit anti-kale, if they can see it. If they can tell it's kale, unless it's juiced, of course. If it's juiced, they love it. They're not fans of eating it. So, and there we have it. And we'll put it in a bowl. And how many were they? How many was that? That was approximately 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. That was about 7 leaves. Some were quite small and some were large. Somewhere in that region, about 6 leaves will be fine. And I'm using the same kale, the lacinato kale. I think other people call it dinosaur kale is another name for it. Apologies if you can hear all the sirens going around. You know, I live in New York City. It's a busy city. There's always something going on. Ambulances, fire, all sorts of things. First responders. It's necessary and the noise can be a pain, but we all need our care, right? Go. So that's that. So I have the ingredients now ready. I go over there and we're going to cook. First we need to heat about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in the pan. Then add the tomatoes to the hot oil. Then add the garlic. As I mentioned, I'm doing this a little differently than Meghan Markle. She put everything in the pot, then poured some water over it. I'm just sauteing the tomatoes with the garlic, letting the flavours release. I think it's just going to make it a bit more flavourful. Now, adding the bucatini. My pan isn't as wide as Meghan Markle's was. I think she has some sort of cute caraway pan. My made in is my fave, one of my faves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the bucatini fit. It's going to fit. Trust me. Don't worry. I'm not going to break the pasta. I'm just going to start to soften the pasta with some hot water. So what I do is I make sure the one side of the pasta is submerged in the hot water, and you will see that it will just begin to bend. Once the pasta starts to bend, I will then just push the pasta further into the pan, keep bending it, keep pushing it under the hot water, and eventually you'll find that the pasta will just fall into the pan. There we are, you see, all done in the pan. I covered the pan for about a minute just to allow the pasta to soften even further. Now I'm adding some more water, hot water actually, to make sure that there's enough water, because I'm using bucatini instead of spaghetti. The pasta is thicker, it needs more water. I'm giving it a taste to see what the flavours are like, and as you can see I'm adding some salt. I think there's like a half a teaspoon of salt. At this point, the pasta is practically cooked. I'm just giving it a test. Now I'm adding the kale. I'm going to do it in batches. Wait till the kale sweats down, and then I'm going to add some more. I decided not to add the arugula. I much prefer raw arugula. Perhaps I could toss it in at the end, maybe. So I'm leaving it out the recipe. Time for another batch of kale. So now I'm adding the Parmesan cheese using my microplane. I've started using tongs to mix all this pasta around. It's much easier. Just a little bit of kale left to add, and now the rest of the Parmesan. It's totally up to you how much you put in, according to taste. Now I'm adding the lemon zest. At least half of a lemon, the zest of a lemon is fine. I think it was 2/3. I used about 2/3. Now I'm adding the red pepper flakes. I almost forgot them, to be honest with you. And last but not least, the basil. Fortunately, I completely forgot about this ingredient, and so I just had to add what I had left in the fridge. So I would have added some more, at least a cup of basil. So here it is, my one-pot pasta dish inspired by Meghan Markle. Full disclosure, I had to modify her recipe. I used more water than she did because bucatini is a thicker pasta than spaghetti. And I also added extra tomatoes close to finalizing the dish, just to make sure I had some plump tomatoes in the dish because mine started getting mushy. I'm adding some more Parmesan on the top, give it a bit more flavor, some cheesy flavor. And I'm finishing off with just a touch of extra virgin olive oil, just to give it that light aromatic taste. Bucatini can be a test of your food etiquette skills. It's a tricky little one. Instead of serving this pasta all by itself, albeit very, very nice, very tasty, I would serve it with some meat or fish. And I made some salmon marinated in some olives and garlic earlier. So I think together they're going to make a wonderful pair. I was right. I was right. It tastes very nice. I like the kale in it. I think the kale in it tastes really, really nice. This is a good meal. Kudos, Megan. And thanks for sharing. So thanks for joining me again. If you've been here before, I thank you for coming back. Do take a moment to like this video if you enjoyed the content. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And I'll see you again. Thank you. You take care. Bye-bye.